sounds so good. Alright, so today we have something very special. This is the new Gibson Dave Mustaine Flying V. And this is metallic silver. And you can actually see the grain in the metallic silver. It's got an ebony fretboard, shark inlays made of mother of pearl with the mother of pearl logo. Grover tuners. Actually has a volute on the back. Set neck design. Dave Mustaine Seymour Duncan Thrash Factor set. And then it's a 59 in the neck. A volume for your bridge. A volume for your neck. 3-way selection. And a tone knob. It looks like this is a Nashville bridge. And I like that they have the hex key in the middle so you can adjust without maybe hurting your fingers. Got your tailpiece. This thing also comes with Dunlop strap locks. Definitely glad that this thing has binding. It definitely gets that Gibson scrape job from razor blades. But it looks like Mustaine did not want fret nibs. And it could have happened. This thing sounds incredible so far, and I like it so much that I put it in the overdrive setting just because how aggressive the rhythms sound. So most of this video is actually with the Angle Iron Ball Special Edition in its overdrive setting with the 212 Blackstar cab and SM57 mic into the audio interface. But I like the way this overdrive sounds. So I will do a section where it's rhythms and just the standard distortion, but it shines so well with the overdrive. We're going to check out these pickups in numerous settings, in cleans, leads, and distortion, and overdrive. I know people are probably going to ask, is this better than the Jackson? Nothing beats the KV1. It's as simple as that. So far, this instrument is actually impressing me. I got it set up the way my other guitars are set up mostly, so it feels like it's kind of been around more often than it has been at the moment. I was able to set it up with pretty low action. I gave it 10 to 52 strings, just tighten the neck slightly and ever so slightly lowered the bridge, and everything's playing where it should be. And it's not fretting out, there's no dead frets. The frets aren't sharp. And I'm actually getting used to looking at this fretboard, because at first I didn't know how to feel about these inlays. I like seeing shark tooth inlays. These almost are like oversized piranha tooth inlays from Jackson. And everyone has their own thing that they see when they see these fret markers. Like they think they're this or that. But that's just cosmetic. Nice thing is they are mother of pearl. I'm glad this is an ebony fretboard, which is almost rare on a Gibson guitar that's not a custom. This is essentially a standard. I'm glad they gave it binding. And it's felt balanced. It hasn't wanted to neck dive, which is good to know. And I don't know if it has something to do with the strap button being here instead of behind where you plug in the guitar. I'm used to it being over here. I'm not the biggest fan of these knobs, but I'm glad that they have grip on them, because I'd be having a bad time if I didn't have any grip, really, especially on like a thrash guitar. I prefer the knurled, those metal knobs that are on Jacksons and my Deans. But these are doing the trick, and they're pretty comfortable, actually. On this particular one that I got, it was actually built very well. I didn't see any issues from the factory that I should be pointing out that's unacceptable. I do see there's some tooling marks from the razor blade, but as far as I know, that's very normal, because they take a razor blade to the fretboard. But everything's built correctly, nothing's loose, feels solid. There's some good resonance in this. Yeah, I could feel it through the whole body. So that's good that you get a good piece of mahogany. Almost the stars, though, are these Seymour Duncan pickups. This thrash factor in 59. It sounds so good. There's a balanced, aggressive tone to this. It's not muddy, and you can hear both the highs and lows. And sustain. So the neck profile on this is a little bit fatter than a usual Dave Mustaine guitar. It's just the slim 60s Gibson neck profile. That's on the custom, that's on the standard Les Pauls, probably even the Explorers. So it's a little bit thicker than what a Mustaine fan of his equipment would normally be a little used to. They didn't make a custom profile for him. But everything else on this guitar has been custom to his spec. Neck profile, I do find it comfortable, especially when I like thinner necks anyway. It's not too thick, but it's definitely there. And it honestly kind of feels like the painted Dean Dave Mustaine USA guitars. Those neck profiles were D-shaped, but they were also thick for some reason. And I don't know if that's just because they caked on all this paint and clear coat, because the Carina USA Dean Dave Mustaine is actually a thinner neck profile, and that's probably because it doesn't have any paint on it besides clear coat. So I myself am actually a fan that they put the Explorer headstock on this Flying V, because I don't really like 3-3 either that much. I know Mustaine specifically wants 6 in a line, so they gave him 6 in a line by putting the Explorer headstock on there. And a huge plus is it has a volute, so it's gonna protect itself a little bit better of braking, which is good. And aesthetically, it's fine by me. I don't mind it. And luckily, the fan isn't too flared out, so this guitar is actually staying in tune very well. And it's probably a huge help with these Grovers. So I've noticed using Grovers through the years that they stay in tune very well. I could not pick up a guitar for months, pick it up, play something, and it's still in tune, pretty much. So Grover's doing a great job, and it's definitely showing on this guitar too. Fret access is excellent in my opinion, and I think part of that is also because they put the strap button a little bit higher so it doesn't get in the way of your hand, which I assume was something that needed to happen. But even standing, yeah, I don't really have trouble hitting the higher frets, which is good because that's what we want, especially with a shreddy thrash guitar. So that's good. It's very comfortable around here. I'm pretty sure the frets have been plecked. I think Gibson plecks a lot of their guitars over the last few years. Definitely smells like a new Gibson. That nitro. So this, I can't tell if this detail is positive or negative, but I'm used to using the Dunlop strap locks that are recessed in the body instead of sticking out like this. And that's something that Jackson's been doing too, where they don't give you the recessed ones, they give you the ones that are sticking out. The positive thing to that is you can use a regular strap with it without having those strap locks. But I'm used to the V's, especially on the Deans, they have the recessed ones. And it brings the strap closer to the body so there's less distance. And I actually like it that way. So personally, I guess if I had to choose, I'd rather not have this. But the weird thing too is the ones that Mustaine gets are the recessed ones, but the ones that they made for the public have these ones sticking out. I don't know why they did it that way. The nut seems to be cut well, and it's definitely flush. So Gibson did a great job in making sure the nut is where it's supposed to be and cut well. And it seems to be not catching the strings either. I'm getting a little used to playing a Flying V at the moment. This area, like when I try to pin the guitar between my legs, it's a bit fatter now, where I'm used to playing a sharper guitar so my legs are closer. To pin this thing so I could do ripping solos. And I assume Dave feels it too, because he's been playing sharp guitars pretty much his whole career. It's not a bad thing, but it's just something different. But that's kind of something I like about this Mustaine, is I have all the other Mustaines, or most of them, and I like that this is more unique to itself, and it plays very comfortable, and it's very familiar. When I play on this bridge, it feels very familiar to me. When I play on this neck, it's pretty close. It feels familiar, but the guitar as a whole, for me as a V player, I'm like, yes, I can pick this up and play it no problem, and feel comfortable and have fun doing it. Maybe it'll be a little inspiring just listening to these thrash factors and staring at this fretboard, seeing what comes out of it. Definitely having fun with it. And another big deal about this, I think, at least, is the Y2KVs that Jackson made in the late 90s, early 2000s. Those are so damn hard to find that it's cool to just finally play a Flying V that's a Mustaine model and have it with 24 frets and all that. And technically, it's a little bit better, I guess, for the Gibson because it has 6 in a line, and I like the nitro finish, so I think that's a plus. I don't know, there's something about the Dean design that definitely holds a close place to my heart, so it's probably prettier than this, but they're not really available as much anymore, and Dean doesn't make them like they used to anymore anyway. This is a decent alternative, especially for being a nice, high-quality USA guitar. I think it's a decent option if someone's looking for a Flying V with 24 frets. That's a big deal. This guitar has 24 frets. I don't know any Flying Vs from Gibson that have 24 frets, and it took Dave Mustaine to be endorsed by Gibson to put 24 frets on a Flying V. So to me, that's a huge deal. The Jackson Dave Mustaine King V, the KV1, nothing's ever going to be better. Whatever comes out, especially with Mustaine's name on it, and it's not the Jackson King V, it's just not going to be better. It's going to be good. They're going to feel comfortable. They're going to sound great. They're great alternatives. But this thing is king. There's a reason why it's in its name. This guitar, in my opinion, is perfection when it comes to a thrash, Megadeth guitar. These Jacksons. And that's just the end of an era. But I don't think anything's ever going to top this guitar. So I wanted to share that this guitar fits very nicely in its case. This case is doing its job very well, I think. The fret inlays were put in very well. And there's just enough room for the headstock. There's a little bit of room too, so it's not completely touching the edge. This custom case was built very well for this guitar. It fits it perfectly. So that's great that that's included. So this thing retails for $27.99. And honestly, I do think Gibson's on the money for that. I'm glad it didn't hit the $3,000 before tax. But this guitar comes with mother of pearl inlays in the fretboard and an ebony fretboard, and it's not custom. So the fact that that is there in spec without costing more than $3,000 for a Gibson guitar, that's great in my opinion. This case is killer too. So I think Gibson's on the money at the moment for these guitars. I'm glad they didn't gouge the price too much. The Les Paul Standard, without anyone's name on it, is $2,600. So I just look at this as a new era. This is now Dave, very late in his career. Probably will retire with Gibson eventually. Possibly. Who knows? But it's just kind of rounded off, even though it's still an aggressive heavy metal guitar. A thrash guitar. But a new era of it. It sounds amazing. And it's mostly to do with these pickups, but at least it's comfortable. plays nice. It's familiar. I'm having fun with it. It's very fun. I like it as a nice option. If someone's looking for a Dave Mustaine guitar, yeah, if they want to buy a new one, yeah, they should probably look into getting one of these. But maybe shop around. See if you can find maybe one of these, but also I liked the Deans. I still do. I'm going to keep my Deans. I really enjoy my VMNTs and the Zeros. So I'll absolutely keeping those. I'm such a fan that I like playing those other guitars too. I'm definitely having fun with this. And no complaints. I definitely will say too, on the fret inlays, they're crisp. There's no glue access around. Like, they fit perfectly in the fretboard.